It's now my pleasure to introduce our next honoree, Gabrielle Union. Gabrielle Union is an artistic powerhouse whose acting and activist career is lockstep with OPNET's commitment to igniting passion in every student. Whether through her portrayal of Mary Jane Paul on the critically acclaimed Being Mary Jane and shining a light on the intricacies of Black womanhood, or her activism against domestic violence and sexual assault on the National Advisory Committee on Violence Against Women, Gabrielle is committed to elevating the stories too often placed in our country's shadow. Her New York Times bestselling memoir makes this point even more clear. Gabrielle understands the power in telling one's own story, a belief foundational to everything I learned at OPNET. Gabrielle has said, "I want to shed light on things that I see as wrong in America, things having to do with race and gender. I get a big microphone because of my job, but in my everyday life, I try to be accountable to that. If I feel or see something that doesn't sit right, I call attention in a positive way so that ideas might change. I try to do my part." It's my great honor to present the Opportunity Award to Gabrielle Union.
So I'm bringing up the rear this evening. I know you guys are itching to get home. And it's like, get home to what? Get home to who? Who are your people? You know, it's a phrase where I come from. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, where anyone at any time can say, who are your people? Who you belong to? And that's a way of saying, what family do you belong to? Who is responsible for you? And I would always say, oh, I'm Bunny Glass's granddaughter. And that meant something. It didn't mean internships. It didn't mean opportunity. It didn't mean money. It didn't mean power. It didn't mean wealth. It just let the world know where I belonged, that I belonged to somebody, that somebody out there cared about me and was accountable for me. And through my journey, the idea of who are your people has had to expand. So when we talk about opportunity, a lot of that has to do with who are your people. Because in Omaha, that didn't mean upward mobility. That meant I know who to drop you off to whip your ass if you mess up. By the time I got to Pleasanton, where I grew up in a suburb in the East Bay, when people would talk about, oh, what's your last name? And last names meant something in my town. It meant power, it meant wealth, it meant opportunity, it meant jobs. When I got to UCLA, last names, your family, who your people are, whether that be a fraternity or a sorority or families that you could research that came over on the Mayflower, it meant opportunity, it meant jobs, it meant wealth, it meant power. When I was raped at gunpoint, one of the most lonely and debilitating experiences of my life, I had to redefine what it meant to be a part of a community. Because my people didn't have a ton of experience with rape survivors. So I had to expand my idea of what and who my people were. I needed a different kind of support. I needed different kind of opportunities to heal and the ability to want to continue living. When I first started in Hollywood, I needed to get a cover, because if you got a cover of a magazine, that meant you were worthy. That meant you had people. Had to expand my idea. Essence Magazine. The first media group that said, oh girl, you are worthy. You are worthy from birth. Of course you can be on the cover of our magazine. Not once, not twice. We actually lost track of how many times I've been on the cover of Essence Magazine. You gotta expand your idea of who's worthy, of who's deserving of an opportunity, who's deserving of power, who's deserving of a job. First-time author, I have no clue what I'm doing. Who reaches out? Van. He's a part of my people, part of my family. The table that's come to support me tonight. We've got immigrants, we've got entrepreneurs, we've got kids from the south side of Chicago. His mother struggled with substance abuse. His family got real small when he needed them the most, but other people stepped up. My mom, tonight, I don't know how I never realized this. It took her 16 years to get her BA. That's by far the definition of non-traditional student. She had 3 kids, a husband. At one point, they were cleaning the daycare at night to provide free childcare. She had to expand her family to create more opportunity. My Aunt Katie is here. When I first started in college, I stayed at her house because I needed my people. Everyone in here needs people. Everyone in here needs family, and everyone in here needs and needed someone at some point in time to expand their idea of family and expand their idea of who your people are. Because your last name only goes but so far. When I realized by the time I got to college that there's a bunch of kids that go to camp together for years, and that's a thing. And I was like, they're like, oh, what camp did you go to? I was like, Pepperdine soccer camp. And they're like, oh no, like, I was like, oh, that's a real thing. That's not just like meatballs, okay. And then like the camp kids stick together, and then they provide opportunity. Like, oh, you guys have people. Oh, okay, I don't have people. So at UCLA, when I was almost done, and some friends were getting internships, but they were internships that their people got for them, their parents' company or their uncle's job. Go to the Expo Center at UCLA. There's a whole booklet of internships. And it was my UCLA bookstore. I was the book buyback supervisor. That family pointed me in the direction of how to get an internship. My whole adult career, I have been relying on this extended idea of family. Packer Productions, Will Packer. I don't even know how many movies we've done together at this point, but I wanted to executive produce because I wanted to expand the idea of family. I wanted to expand the idea of who my people were. I wanted to provide that family for somebody else. And by family, I mean opportunity, jobs, power. Will help me with that opportunity. My first job was an internship. And I used to call in appointments for Jessica Biel and Hayden Panettiere, and I worked for this young guy who was from Colorado, who knew it but didn't know it, but he was in the LGBTQT community. Couldn't figure out why he couldn't find a nice Christian girl. I was like, I have an idea. What could be standing in your way? He's the longest relationship I've ever had because I opened my heart and my mind to the idea of who my people were. So I challenge everyone in this room. Yes, we've all given money. Yes, we may even provide internships. But I need you to really rethink our idea of who your people are and what family is. Who's made it to pictures in frames on your mantle? We talk a big game in this room, but who's in the pictures, in the frames on your mantles? Do they look like you? Are they your blood family? Have you reimagined what family and your people could be? That's real change. We need to go the next step. When these kids are telling you, I'm afraid to go to certain colleges because I don't know how the police in that town are gonna receive me, listen to them. When people say, I'm afraid to be passionate about my work because I don't want to be labeled the angry brown woman, listen to them. They're telling you how to redefine family and who their people are because they're going to need their people to help lead. And I say help lead because they're going to be standing right next to you. When you have the microphone, pass it away. Make sure every voice is heard. Make sure every family member's needs are being met. Reimagine who your people are. Reimagine what your family looks like. To my brother, my beautiful chocolate brother, it's gonna work out okay for you. D. Wade says, it's all right. You're gonna be fine as a chocolate brother. But that's what we gotta do. We need more of that. Not when it's just for social media, not when people are looking, when you're not gonna gain anything. Expand the idea of family because there is a space and a place for everyone. Put more people in those pictures in frames on your mantles. Don't just talk the talk, walk the walk. Thank you, good night to all of my family members.